What's up, legends? Welcome to the video. A little champion guide on the way for you guys. This is actually the fusion, at the time of this recording at least, the rare, the fusion rare. So everybody's going to get a bunch of copies of this guy, even if you're not going for the fusion. So I figured we'd go ahead and max him out in today's video, see what he's all about. Is he worth using, even should you not complete the actual fusion for Fabian? Or if you pull him at some point in the future, is he worth actually investing in? Today we will answer all of that and more about Hidestitcher Boorn. Make sure I get that name right here. So, good old Hidestitcher. Let's take a look at this champion here. He is obviously a rare. He's Magic Affinity. He's a support champion. His base stats are really solid, right? 17k, over 1,000 defense, 103 speed. Not bad for a rare champion. No aura, no passive. Pretty basic kit, right? He looks like, well, just like half the other skinwalkers, maybe a little bit of a darker motif there in the aesthetics, but overall definitely fits that vibe of every other skinwalker rare champion, I feel like, in the game, right? On his A1, Stave Smash. Attacks one enemy. We have a 75% chance to place the weak version of Decrease Attack. All of his damage is based on HP, okay? So a Decrease Attack, small version on the A1. All right. A Skin Sealer, his A2 ability, gives a weak version 25% of increased resistance on all allies for 2 turns, as well as a shield equal to 20% of allies' HP, again for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. This is a really nice ability for a rare champion to have. I love the cooldown. I love that the books go right to the cooldown. Increased resistance is nice. It's not amazing, but it's nice, the weak version that is, and the shield is nice as well. On the A3, it's Hidestitcher. His name literally is the ability. Again, on a 3-turn cooldown, the books aren't too bad. Heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%. A nice heal. It's based on his HP and a turn meter fill. This is some really good support in this kit for progression in the early game or for the end game in secret rooms. Obviously, there's some blue affinity magic only secret rooms. He can kind of be a turn meter, a healer, obviously, a shielder, and increase that resistance as well. Altogether, you know, not the best rare that they've released in a few years. Obviously, there's been quite a few better than him. A Bowsnit Flannan, Longsword Turox, who is that Void? I always forget the freaking guy's name. What's his name? Branch Arm Lysair, for example. Ingid Twiststaff. So I wouldn't put him on those levels. A few others that I didn't mention. Tree Shield, obviously, going to be another one. But he's not as crappy as most rares are in this game. You can definitely get some utility out of him, even in the early game at level 50 if you're not going for the fusion. I'd recommend considering him, building him, to level 50. And Skinwalkers can be a fairly tricky, it depends on who you have, faction war, so you could definitely use him there as well. Let's talk about the build on this champion. All right, guys, so I basically want 3 stats on my Hidestitcher Boorn. Boorn. I want 3 stats on him. I want HP, speed, and I want resistance, right? Resistance is definitely 3rd in the pecking order, but I was able to build him to around 400, which is solid. That means we get an additional 100 in addition to that, obviously, with the buff that he brings. So he'll be sitting at 500 resistance more often than not, which is pretty solid for a rare champion, especially in areas like Ice Golem and wave content, etc., right? So really solid there to have that resistance on an increased resistance champion anyway. That keeps him from being CC'd to support the team. Hopefully they can resist with his buff, as well as keep that turn meter and those heals and shields flowing to your allies. Now, accuracy is required for that A1 on the decrease attack. It's the small version. It's not 100% on the decrease attack. I'm not building him with a bunch of accuracy just to land that, unless you're going against a boss where you have no decrease attack and your team is dying, right? And those would be that would be the one situation where I'd be like, okay, maybe I am, or an early clan boss team, and you don't have that decrease attack on anybody, and your team's just, the survivability is an issue. In that case, because 75% on an A1 isn't that bad. It is the weak version, though, but for an A1 ability. So anyway, I say all that to say that, yeah, if you need it, go for it. Otherwise, just punt accuracy like I'm doing. So I have him in resistance on the banner. I think HP would probably be the best bet, but I decided to build him with some resistance, but prioritizing HP and speed. I went HP on the amulet. I went HP on the ring. I went speed on the boots. I went HP percentage on the chest. I went a defense percentage on the gauntlets. Ideally, that'd be HP as well. Actually, let's go ahead and make that move. Let's make that switch. I think I had no gear and no silver right now. I'm in a tough spot right now. I'm doing so much on the account. Let's put him in. Who do you want to steal? Who do you want to steal from? How about Alatreon? All right. So I put him in 2 speed and 1 resistance sets as well. His total HP is going to be 75k, 243 on the speed, and 390 on the resistance. Now, this is kind of an ender game build, I would say. Like, this is the type of stuff that you're going to want to be using in Cintranos and in Doom Tower Hard. It's a shame I already used my silver keys, but there's a floor that was built for him in terms of rare supports, right? So could definitely use him there. There's also some Cintranos areas that he can be used. I saw on this current rotation. So he's definitely a progression rare champion. I say all that to say this is kind of the worst gear that I could find on my account right now. So I apologize. I feel like I should almost keep a couple basic super beginner builds and then use them for videos like this where the champion's really going to be niche areas and beginner progression. So let me cut to the chase here because I've been blabbing a lot about this champion as I show you, as we pick up the Masteries together. I think he's not amazing. I'm going to give him like a B, right? Healer, support, progression, fantastic. I'm not going to get the accuracy. I'm going to get the HP, obviously. We want to make sure that we're going to go with Steadfast, and we really want Shield Bearer, right? That shield that he has is really solid. We want to go ahead and double down on that. Lay on Hands. We're going to go Healing Savior. We're going to go Merciful Aid, and we're going to go Lasting Gifts on this champion, right? I'm also going to go offense. I'm going to go crit rate. I'm going to go crit damage, and then I'm just going to hug the left-hand side. I'll move myself out of the way, but you're not missing much here. You could go defense and kind of make him a little bit tankier as well. It just depends on how you're using this champion. I think this champion also can be utilized without Masteries, okay? That being said, rapid response, I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Lore of Steel, and I'm actually going to go with Sniper. So that's going to be our Masteries. Sniper will help that decrease attack land at an 80% clip instead on the A1. Again, if you have enough accuracy to land it. And then War Master is going to get some damage out of this otherwise support champion. One of my favorites on this guy, my 2 favorite Masteries are going to be Rapid Response and Lasting Gifts to extend the duration and get the turn meter fill as well. If I went down the defense tree, I would end at Cycle of Revenge on this champion. So I'd probably go with Tough Skin, Blast Proof, Resurgent. I'd probably go Delay Death and go Cycle of Revenge. All right, guys, blessings. I don't have any, and neither do many right now at this point in time, but I would probably just end up going with Emergency Heal. I think that Emergency Heal is going to be the way to go on this champion. Of course, Survival Instinct could be an option as well, should he get CC'd. All right, guys, so I showed you the total stats. I showed you the build. Let's go ahead and bring him into battle. Let's go Ice Golem. Again, kind of regular dungeon progression, right? So I have him here on this Ice Golem Stage 25 team. I'm not going to show you the entire run, but we will get familiar with this guy. Obviously, he's on the right-hand side. You can see he comes in with the nice shield on everybody. It's a substantial shield, right? 20% of their HP is not ideal that it's their HP, but it is ideal that it's a pretty girthy shield for a rare champion on a 3-turn cooldown. So I really love that about him. Obviously, you guys saw the increased resistance as well. Helpful. It's not imperative. It's not an essential buff to have, but it never can hurt, right? And it's never going to show up on the stat sheet, right? We have Yakara, we have Bellower, we have Syl the Drakes on this team. It's kind of foreshadowing to a video I have releasing on the main channel, Ash Raid Shadow Legends, in case you're unaware of my main raid channel. But yeah, I'm going to showcase a certain aspect of this team that I don't want to give it all away. I'll come back to you guys when we get to the Ice Golem. All right, guys, so at the very, very last second, my team wiped, but instead of redoing it and spending another 5 minutes, I will go ahead and show you the end results here. So the healing, not exactly what I had hoped here. Syl the Drake's basically 3xing the total amount of heals from Boorn, but Syl the Drake's is also an elite healer in the game. His healing was actually along the same lines as a tree shield, not maybe even a little bit less there. So, that doesn't take into consideration, obviously, the shielding as well, and the buffs and whatnot. whatnot. But, you know, overall, okay, I would say overall. Let's go ahead and jump into Dragon before I let you guys go. We don't need to make this guide like super long. We have Taurus, we have Dark Elhain, we have Apothecary, Reliquary Tender, and our guy. Let's see how he does here, right? We'll compare the healing here as well to Reliquary, to Apothecary, certainly on a very good team in terms of the amount of heals and support that we have here. But again, I do like his kit, right? Pretty well-rounded for a rare, just not going to be a top-tier rare, certainly not as good as a champion like Apothecary or Reliquary Tender, both on this same team as Reliquary picks up Dark Elhain. I'll come back to you guys when we get to the Dragon. Be right back. All right, here we go against the Dragon. Hopefully the results will be a little bit better. Kind of disappointed in the L, but it is what it is. All right, so we go in there. Now, placing the decrease attack on the A1 actually would be nice, and we did. Hey, even with 140 accuracy, sometimes you can sneak it in there against higher levels. So, hey, the decrease attack weak version, this is an example of where it will definitely be useful, right? The weak version is certainly better than no version on hard-hitting mobs like the Dragon. We also have a Toxic set on Apothecary, helping out with our own poison damage, in addition to Taurus, who's the best AoE poison damage dealer, arguably the best poison damage dealer from all epics in the game, with 4 poisons on an AoE. It'll be interesting to see the damage between Taurus and Dark Elhain, the differential there. So, hey, listen, let me wrap this video up as we finish killing the Dragon vis-a-vis all these poisons. I think that overall, like I said, he's a B minus champion. I do like that everything that he does, especially his A2 and his A3, is going to have some meaningful utility. So often they release rares that have an ability that just absolutely sucks, right? Like a damage that doesn't do damage or something along those lines. Everything that he does, you're going to be able to find utility from. And hey, I think that overall he's a pretty good addition to the game. That being said, he's not going to be a must-max rare, far from it. Take him to 50, especially if you're not going for the fusion. I do think that the epic is pretty underwhelming as well. So if you miss out on Fabian, or you just pull him at some point during the future, or you have an extra copy, hey, he might be the type of champion that you could utilize on your account. That being said, if you're sitting on a bunch of epics and rares that are kind of in your queue to max out next on your account, he probably would not go above any of the big difference makers, the more highly ranked rare or epic champions out there in the game. So with that said, what are his total stats here? Boorn put out 586,000 in the heals, around the same amount as Apothecary, so certainly can't complain about that at all. Overall, a pretty solid rare champion, but not going to, you know, massively impact your account. Certainly helpful for the areas that we mentioned in today's video. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.